Warm greetings from the High 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans on this Wednesday, April 8, 2020. I'd like to bring you information out of the state of Florida pertaining to Brianna Williams. And if you need verification for the storyline, please log on to News4Jax. Brianna Williams pleads not guilty to abusing 5-year-old Taylor. Brianna Williams accused of aggravated child abuse, tampering with evidence. This was updated April 7th. The mother, 5-year-old Taylor Williams, who reported her daughter, missing last year in what investigators say was a lie from the start, pleaded not guilty Tuesday to a charge of aggravated child abuse and other charges. Due to regulations in place due to coronavirus, the arraignment was conducted by video conference, and you will see a photo of this hag in the said article. You know how I roll. The charges were added last month to the 2 counts of child neglect and 1 count of lying to law enforcement that Brianna Williams already faced. She has not been charged with anything connected to the death of Taylor, whose body was recovered in Alabama near Williams' family home less than a week after she was reported missing. Court documents suggest that Brianna Williams tortured, maliciously punished, or caged Taylor sometime between last time the girl was seen alive in April and November 6, when Williams reported her missing. According to evidence released in the case, investigators found possible blood stains in 6 locations in the apartment, including inside a closet. Prosecutors have charged Williams with tampering with evidence because investigators believe she dumped Taylor's remains in Alabama before saying the girl had disappeared. Williams has not been charged with causing her daughter's death. Based on Florida's sentencing guidelines, if Williams were to be convicted on all five charges, she could face decades in prison. The Department of Children and Families has no contact with Brianna Williams or Taylor, and DCF said the family was not involved in any prior abuse complaints before Taylor was reported missing. Last week, prosecutors released mounds of evidence against Williams, showing that she returned to Jacksonville from Linden, Alabama, where her 5-year-old daughter's remains were later found, 6 hours before placing a Craigslist ad asking for help to move out of her apartment. Investigators later searched that apartment after Williams, reported her daughter, Taylor, missing from the Brentwood home she moved to. According to records, in addition to the blood stains in the apartment, they found soiled children's clothes, fecal matter, cans of soup with small openings in them, and a scent of decay. That same scent was noticeable in the trunk of Williams' Honda Accord, records show. The trunk was empty, but a rubber liner inside smelled of cleaning fluid. A cadaver dog picked up the scent of decomposition in the trunk and the driver's compartment. According to records, dead maggots, fecal matter, soiled clothes, and assorted sex toys were also recovered from the car. According to court records, a search of Williams' cell phone found she made 3 trips to and from Linden, Alabama on October 31st, November 1st, and November 2nd last year. She returned to Jacksonville at about 5:28 a.m. November 3rd. 6 hours later, she posted the Craigslist ad seeking help moving out of her Southside apartment. The couple who helped, Tiffany Robinette and Chris Bonaventure, said they were in the apartment for an hour, but they never saw a child at the apartment or a new home. Williams told Bonaventure, who heard running water at the apartment, that her daughter was taking a bath. 3 days after the move, Williams called police to report her daughter missing, saying she woke up and the back door was open and Taylor was gone. A massive search for the 5-year-old extended from Brentwood to the south side. Records show police recovered a handgun, shotgun, rifle, and ammunition from the house in Brentwood where Williams moved. Records show Williams had told her commanding officer she was taking Taylor to her parents' house in Alabama the first week of November, but when police interviewed both parents, they said they did not see Brianna or Taylor during that time. When detectives confronted Williams with the discrepancy in her story, she stopped cooperating with the investigation, records show. Records show the daycare at Naval Air Station, Jacksonville, where Williams worked, and the kindergarten daycare told the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office they hadn't seen Taylor since April. Taylor's remains were found November 12th in a wooded area of Marengo County, Alabama, where Williams' GPS had been tracked, according to court records. In the rural area where Taylor's remains were found, investigators also found pieces of plastic, fabric, 3 kinds of rope, blue gloves, a knife, cardboard, wire, papers, and a punch drink can. The Alabama Department of Forensic Sciences also listed a shower curtain, a black plastic bag, and a shirt in its laboratory evidence list. Investigators suspect Taylor, whose name is redacted from the evidence reports due to Marcy's Law, was dead before Williams moved to the Brentwood home from the apartment on the south side. Among the evidence released Tuesday were search warrants for Williams' iCloud account and a cell phone that said investigators hope to pinpoint the last time Taylor was alive using photos, videos, text messages, messaging apps, call logs, and emails. According to a 9-page summary of discovery in the case obtained by News4Jax, evidence that could appear in trial includes the 911 call where Williams claimed her daughter was kidnapped, Taylor's autopsy report, thousands of photos, surveillance video, police body camera videos, her Amazon order history, and information uncovered during search warrants at Williams' apartment, her home in Brentwood, and of her car, cell phones, and computers. This list shows investigators have thousands of pieces of evidence, nearly 4,000 crime scene photos, and dozens of videos of Williams and her car on base in Nash, Jacksonville, and in Alabama, near the spot where authorities found Taylor's body. Prosecutors also have Uber and Lyft records documenting Williams' activity with the ride-sharing services. Additionally, they pulled her Navy records, including when she accessed the base, the surveillance from stores in Jacksonville, Georgia, and Alabama. And that is the said information. And underneath that are more articles pertaining to Brianna Williams and Taylor Williams. If you need verification for the story, please log on to News4Jax. Well, let's start with this. I've read you the said information from this article if you need verification for the story. So there should be no misinterpretation from this article of what was found inside of the apartment. Blood stains, which means something else obviously transpired with the child inside of that apartment. The fact that they smelled decomposition when they got there, the authorities, which leads us to wonder how the hell the two people who helped her move didn't bolt out of there when they went to help her move. The fact that they didn't see a child. The fact that evidence shows the child was dead when she moved to the second location, the house that she moved to. They're stating the body evidence, whichsoever, shows the child was already dead when she moved out of that apartment that had the smell, the soiled clothes, and evidence, and yah. The fact they have records, phone records, GPS records, smell of decomposition in the car, evidence found at the scene where the child was dumped. So I don't want any questions in the comment section about what I just read, because they just gave you the said information of the evidence revealed to the court about what transpired in that apartment, what evidence they had in the apartment, evidence pertaining to the car, the GPS, to Alabama, Georgia, Florida. Craigslist ad. You see where I'm going with this? Because some of you will ask me things that I've already said in the said information, and it gets a bit daunting to question the authorities and the evidence that they have. I don't really think there should be any more questions. Excuse me. Got my door open. Flies coming in. But excuse me. Seriously. So we now know the child was dead when she was dumped in the state of Alabama from the state of Florida. The bloodstains, I do not know what they are from. If she beat the child, if she bludgeoned the child, if she shot the child. I guess we'll find that out later when they decide to release that said information. You also see that her name has been redacted due to a Marcy's Law. From the court records, documentation. This heifer pleading not guilty means nothing, but they're also saying with the said charges at this current moment of the lying to police, and I guess the evidence that they have found, that she's facing decades in jail. But I'm hoping that with this said information, it leads to a murder charge, and she will be found guilty of murdering her child, disposing of evidence, and everything else they can find and tacked on. Let's keep it 100. I do not want to see this story ending up as a Casey Anthony story where eventually she decides to blame the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, the auntie, the mama, the grandmama. You understand where I'm going? Because, see, that's where this could go due to the fact that the baby was found in the state of Alabama near where she grew up. And it would be very easy for her to say, I left my child with Pookie, Ray Ray, Susie Mae, and they murdered my child. But the fact that they're saying that the child was also caged, not seen from possibly April to November, so that is April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 7 months is a long time not to see a child, hear from a child, or have a child in school or some form of daycare, because she was a young child, not yet school age, so she should have been in daycare. So those some long months of not seeing a child and or not being inside of a daycare. And I think at some point, excuse me, bugs flying. I think at some point she decided she no longer wanted to be a parent. She no longer wanted to rear the child. That's why she took out the daycare. But where she was a fool was saying something to her superior about taking her up to Alabama to live with her parents. Now, I don't know if this was a part of her plan, or did she mention this after she had already murdered the child? So, see, I don't know. That wasn't revealed. But that would be interesting to know if the superior has a date when Brianna gave he or she that information of the child being in Alabama, because that could also help with the timeline of when the child got deceased. But I'm sure they're testing, all that evidence in that apartment was tested. But they are stating the child was dead at the time of the move. And that leads us to wonder, how long was the child dead in the apartment? Because as I state, be a child, human, dead 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, it stinks regardless. So how in the hell did those two movers go in that apartment to help move and say they were in there an hour? And you didn't notice the stench in there? Because they say the smell of death is like no other smell in the world. So what the hell was wrong with you two to make them a couple of $100 that you were willing to say turn a blind eye at a ratchet smell of death to make some money? And then when everything hits the fan about the child missing, now you want to give an account of, oh, I was there, she paid us to move, no child was seen, water was running in the bathroom, she said the child was taking a bath, but yet you didn't see any other adults there to accompany the child while you were helping this dizzy broad move out of there. Then you also go on to say you didn't see the child at the next location. Well, of course you couldn't see her at the next location unless she had wings and flew out of that apartment to the house. Hello? Stupid comment. Stupid comment. You should have been leery as soon as you walked in that apartment, you two people. You should have been leery when she told you the child was in the bathroom and you heard running water. You didn't think, okay, a small child with water running. 3, not seeing another adult in the apartment with the child in the bathroom. The fact that you left that apartment. 4, without the child. 5, you come back. You still ain't thinking about the running water in there with the child. 6, you leave back out of there with more stuff and go back. Did I clear it all up for y'all? Foolishness. But these are the things that happen with people. They see stuff, smell stuff, they don't say nothing. They'll go whisper about it amongst themselves. That was a trip, wasn't it? You smell that smell in there? But don't go to the authorities. Don't call. Don't say anything. Brianna is a fool. A utter fool, buffoon, vile, wicked creature. The fact that she thought she would get away with this, the fact that she took that child out to daycare, the fact that she thought she could hide it from the world, this child, starving her child, abusing her child, locking her child up via cage, via closet, because that is considered a cage. Even if you're in the closet and you can move about 1 foot, it doesn't matter. It's still cage and kidnapping. It's all the same. It's torture. It's all the same. Even if she didn't put her hands on her, it's still considered torture because she couldn't move about. She couldn't use the restroom. She didn't have free will to roam. No food, no water. Not enough to sustain herself. Considered torture. I'm questioning those 2 people, their mindset. And you hear these type of stories all the time of people who turn a blind eye to things and they hear and see things, but they don't want to get involved. And I understand why some people don't want to get involved, but there's no way I think I could have held my breath in that. And I have been around and seen some vile things in my own time, the way people lived in their apartments and homes, and I thought, wow, really? But the right thing to do is to report these people. I don't care what nobody says, because now you see, even if you had a reporter, it would have been of some use. And they could have gotten more probably out the said situation. The body could have still been in that apartment had you went and called the police. And there would have been no dumping of the body, because baby girl would have had to open that door. And if it smelled the way they say it did, the stench also had to be coming outside of the door. So that also leads me to wonder what the neighbors have to say about that apartment. Any complaints about an odor or anything seeping through the carpet? Because let me tell you all, if you've never seen any death scene, and you can log on to YouTube and get said information from about death scenes. Once a body has sat a while, be it in a bed, a floor, it seeps through whatever it lied upon. So if it was a bed, it will seep through the mattress, through the box spring, to the carpet via floor, wood or carpeting. And then it will also go through the carpeting until the layer under that. Do you see what I'm saying? So now, depending on what floor she lived on, if she lived over somebody, a stain should have possibly be on somebody's ceiling, because we don't know how long the child was deceased in that apartment. But evidence states she was dead before reaching the dump site in Alabama. And just reading what they found in the trunk, cleaning solutions, smelling that, the things that were found in the trunk of the car, things that were found at the site of the child's, where she was disposed, gloves, rope, now all that stuff. What the hell was she doing with all that stuff? Shower curtain, all that. Probably to conceal the child in. You understand what I'm saying? And the sex toys, let's not leave those out. The hell was she doing with those in her car? Traveling, sales lady perhaps? Yeah, this a wicked, stinking witch. I said it. I have no feelings for her, no empathy for her, because she could have done the right thing and placed her child with an agency and or a family member or somebody. Or she could have just did the noble thing, kept her legs closed and or used birth control. Quit playing. Because see, one thing begets another. And this trifling bat not using birth control, getting hooked up with somebody who probably wasn't worth a damn, then realizing, I don't got no friends, no family to help aid, or I don't trust these people with my kid, whichsoever how it went. Now I don't want to be bothered. Now I want to get rid of her. And indeed she did. But I'm praying 12 members, 12 woke members will give that heifer the death penalty and put her down like a rabid dog. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below. This is Everyday Shenanigans. God bless you and keep you safe. And as you see, despite this COVID-19, wickedness still abounds in this country and everywhere in the land. And there are people who don't care anything about you. They don't have no love for you. See, COVID-19 you can't see. But these other demons walking around, you can see and you can hear them. So just remember, the devil is everywhere. And he is all around us. And he is at the moment wreaking havoc on us, American citizens, and abroad. So please stay woke, stay prayerful. God bless you all. Thanks for listening and thanks for joining me. And this is Everyday Shenanigans. Bye-bye.